and or turn off your camera if you would not like to appear in the recording. Okay. So, Mr. Todd, please take away.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks so much. So yeah, hello, my name is Todd Beuckens, and I am a teacher in Beppu, where I've been for many years. And actually, I'm just coming to an end of my job there. Oh, I think I'm sorry, I have the wrong screen. Excuse me. So I like to create lots of different listening activities. And so I met Rob Waring about 8 years ago. He saw the work that I was doing with ELER, and we became friends, and I got really involved with extensive reading, and I love extensive reading. And one of the things I've been saying for years is actually in extensive reading, we're missing the easiest, the low-hanging fruit that's so easy to create and very interesting, and that is extemporaneous speech. So if you want to create an EL and ER library, one of the easiest things you can do is actually just make videos. So I have a website, and it's called ELO, and on ELO, it's free, everything's free. And you can see people from around the world talking about a variety of topics. And the most popular activity by far is one that's called 1 Minute English. And it's just somebody from around the world answering a question. And the questions can be anything. And so, but here's a really good one. So here is Widuri from Indonesia, and she's talking about beauty pageants. And so if you're a student and you want to build your word count, and you want to start developing your listening skills and your language skills, these types of activities are a great way to increase word count, especially for students that really aren't the most motivated readers. So you can just make videos or get videos online and then put the transcript on the page, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, and you've got 2 for 1. So now you have extensive listening and you have extensive reading at the same time. So unfortunately, the audio is going to be a little low because you'll be able to hear it, but it's not going to be as loud as it could be. So I'm sorry about that. But here is Widuri, and her question is, do you like beauty pageants?
There are 2 famous. Hello, I'm Widuri, and I'm from Indonesia. Today's question is, do you like beauty pageants? Personally, I don't really like beauty pageant show. In Indonesia, there are 2 famous beauty pageant show. It's Putri Indonesia and Miss Indonesia. Sometimes I watch the show because I just want to know these beauty girls from all over Indonesia. You know, right? Indonesia is island countries, and this show is sometimes good for you to know because there are talents and knowledge from them that you can learn from. But for other beauty pageants like Miss World or Miss Universe, I just read the news about that. I don't really read or watch the show. What about you guys? Do you like beauty pageants?
Okay, so then that's it. That's the end of the video. But what's kind of interesting is you can, when you do these videos, let me go ahead and go back down here and show you another one. There's Christina. Where's the one with Christina? So you can actually get, I have one with Christina, I'm sorry, a woman from Germany. She has an opposite view where she was in a beauty pageant. And she talks about how much, her experience being in a beauty pageant. And I don't know why I thought I had it linked here. I'm sorry. But the point is, we live in an era where students are doing, everything rapidly. We want them to sit down and we want them to read a book. Well, that's a problem because in the ADD TikTok generation, a lot of kids don't want to sit down and read a book. And my message has always been, I'm not saying reading is not valuable. It is incredibly valuable. It is one of the most valuable things. But there are going to be students, and I'm sure we can all agree with this, that it's like pulling teeth to get them to read. And so videos, very short videos with text, is an easy way to get them to read. Also, videos of people that they're related to, the same age, the same ethnicity, the same cultural background. Those are things that might interest the students. So, and it's very easy. It's never been easier to make. So I actually, this is on my website, kind of doing a little promo here, but here's a page I made just on my own. And I'll go ahead and share this here in the chat window. And so here, I created this in probably 30 minutes. So I used Blogger. So if you want to create your own material, especially if you want to create material for English for specific purposes, let's say medical or engineering or business or whatever, an easy way to get extensive reading is just to interview people in that field, give them a question and have them talk about it. Because one thing that's beautiful about natural speech, extemporaneous speech, is that we're going to see in a minute, the word count is always really, really easy. It's the word difficulty is very, very easy. So you could have a thing where the students might have a video. Here we have Ulysses from Costa Rica, and the student could watch the video. This one is, did you learn a language by watching movies? And on this one, by the way, also they have the subtitles. So if you want to see the subtitles, you can. I'll just kind of just forward it here a little bit. And then if you want to assessing extensive listening this way is incredibly easy to do. All you have to do is create a form, and the student would click on it. And every time they listen to something, they put their name, whatever the topic was, and then a really short summary of what they watched or listened to, and then a really short opinion about how they feel about it. And then usually I have the students share the link. So here I'm using videos just to be safe for commercial reasons, for copyright reasons. I'm using videos from my own website. But as we all know, you can go to YouTube or other sources and get tons of videos, or you could actually make your own videos. So we're kind of living in this wonderful era where it's so easy to create videos like this. And one thing you might want to think of is the reason why we haven't been doing this, it's kind of a new thing, is we just didn't have the technology for it. You know, the whole point about books is we have books because we used to have the oracle up on the mountain, and the guy had all this wisdom, but for him to get that wisdom to everybody, the only way to do it was through a book. But we live in a different generation now. So now you could just make a video anywhere around the world. And what's great about this is if you want to create your own content, you can just crowdsource it. You could just ask friends or family members. And as we're going to see in a minute, you can actually have the students create their own extensive listing material. So it's just so easy to do. And so I highly recommend you do it. And one thing that's great is these texts always fall within the bands of what we want in extensive reading. So if I go to the text checker, here, the Oxford text checker, and I'm going to go ahead and take that last one. And if I paste it in here, so this is Ulysses from Costa Rica. If I do a check on his right here, you're going to see that when I look at the results, bam, every time you're going to get this type of result. So here we've got 93% of the words are A2 or below. So it doesn't matter what you talk about, it's still going to be relatively easy because that's just how your brain naturally processes language. So when we write, no matter how hard we try, even if you're the world's best graded reader, writer, we tend to make things a little bit too complex, and then we have to whittle it down. Now, what's amazing about extemporaneous speech is you can't do that. You don't have to worry about that. You naturally always speak at a very low level. You always use A1 and A2 words. You always use short clauses. You always use simple grammar. You always have repetitive patterns like I'm doing right now. So if we're looking at extensive, the goal of extensive reading, which is to have lots of highly comprehensible input at their level that's engaging and interesting, extensive listening is a great bridge to help build people up so they could read at higher levels. Because you can have things that are very short, you can have things that are very easy, And naturally, you can have things that are easy to access as well. And you can kind of gamify it as well. So I showed you some stuff for English. Oh, by the way, before I do that, I want to show you, I know a lot of people are from Indonesia and from Mongolia. So here is one on ELER. Now, so the videos are, yeah, Flipgrid. Yeah, you're right. So Flipgrid and also Paul Rain's Zengango is excellent. I get a lot of my videos for all of my websites now using Zengango, but also Flipgrid. Exactly. It's so easy. Here's a longer one. So here is Widuri, and she's from Indonesia. She's talking with Danu, and she just talks about Indonesia, like things you should do in Indonesia. And there's a couple of things that's really nice about the extemporaneous speech. One is on the transcript, there's lots and lots of white space. Lots of white space. And so in terms of the cognitive load, that's fantastic. Because as they read, there's just so much space, it's easy for their eyes to glide down. And this is just natural conversation. Also here, again, we have peer-to-peer. We have two people, let's say if you're an Asian student, that are more like them. And Ann Maeda talked about this at PanSig, about how you could have people within your own culture talking about your culture or things that interest your culture, and that might resonate more with students. And this one, by the way, you can get a high word count. So you might think, well, that's really low. This is only like 100 words or whatever. Well, this one right here, this is 600 words. And so you can actually get high word counts. So if you were to read this one right here, listen and read at the same time. And then if a student were to read this one, Mongolian Vacation, which actually has the text kind of built in. So this is Heidi from Mongolia. You're going to get 1,000 words. So these two simple listening activities, they have 1,000 word count. Now there's another cool little game I'd like to show. So I put my money where my ear is. It's my little pun. I am doing this, investing my own money to learn Spanish. And Spanish is the perfect language for me to do this, because I grew up in California in America. And I am familiar with, everybody in California is probably familiar with at least 200 Spanish words. We just know them without knowing Spanish. So I think that's very similar to a lot of kids in Asia who they're exposed to English. So one thing I like to do is you can do this with Quizlet. I don't know if you guys play Quizlet, is you could have what I call the rapid reader. So what you do is you basically have to click to keep up. So we'll do the Spanish one. This is Danya from Chile, and she's talking about what types of cars does she like. So here we go.
Hola, yo soy Dania, soy de Chile, y la pregunta de hoy es, ¿qué tipo de autos te gusta? Yo no sé mucho sobre autos, pero me gustan los autos electrónicos. Los autos electrónicos son bonitos, son modernos, son prácticos y no son muy caros. Además, los autos electrónicos no ensucian el aire, no contaminan. Y eso es muy importante en el mundo hoy. Por eso me gustan los autos electrónicos. ¿Y a ti? ¿Qué tipo de autos te gusta?
Okay, so that one I have is wrong. And then if the student gets stuck, they're like, what is it? They can just click and then they've got it. And what's really nice about using these flashcards in Quizlet, it's free. They could go ahead and just play the audio and hear it.
Me gustan.
Right? So they can kind of reinforce. So that's kind of a nice little trick that you can do. And it's very easy. All you have to do is use something like DeepL, and you put the small lines on one side and you translate on the other. You put them in an Excel sheet, you paste that into Quizlet, and then boom, you've got your cards that you can read. And I call this my little rapid reader, kind of a fun game. There's a couple other things that you can do to make engaging listening activities. You can actually make it so students actually create their own listening materials. So here is an example. So I do this with my students where they have to make a story And all they do is the students draw the pictures. And then they have to narrate the picture. And then they put the audio on a PowerPoint. And then it plays. So you can use PowerPoint as an audio book. So that's another way to make really easy, dynamic, extensive listing material. And if you don't have it where the material is online, there's a bunch of things that you can do with PowerPoint. So you could actually just create an audiobook that can be either extensive listening or extensive reading away from easily offline. So I'm going to play the story so you can kind of see how it works. Hopefully you're going to be able to hear it. It's very short and it's, I think, 6 parts. So here we go.
It was a dark, windy night. Above, a full moon shined brightly in the sky. A boy named Tom was walking in the park. As he walked, he saw an object in the distance. It was a bright, white object moving towards him. It whistled in the wind as it crept towards him. It floated in the air. It was not human. It was getting closer and closer. He was frozen with fear. Was this a ghost? Was he doomed? Nothing seemed right. Nothing. Suddenly, the object rushed towards him. It revealed itself. It was...
Okay, anybody? What was it?
a plastic bag. It was blowing in the wind. The moral of the story is, don't fear the unknown. Anything can be explained. Anything.
So with that activity, what's kind of fun is, first of all, like mine is purposely ridiculous, my drawings, but you could draw the pictures about as fast as you could write the story. And I just drew those pictures, and then I took a photo of it, put the photo on the PowerPoint. I narrated each picture, then just threw the audio on the PowerPoint and you're done. And the students can do this. And so you're thinking, well, yeah, but I can't, how am I going to build an extensive library doing it that way? Well, if you have 20 students and you put them in pairs, suddenly you've got 10 for that class. So then you've got 10 minutes of listening material because they have to listen to each other's, and they really get into it. They really enjoy, those stories. And often what I'll do, if it's a small class, is I'll get their story, I'll hear it the first time, and then I'll re-narrate it with my version and my better English, and then I'll swap my audio in there. And so then they can see how they did it and then how I did it, how I said the same thing. And then you can build an easy library. There's just one other thing that you can do, very, very, very easy to make listening. And if you have a whiteboard, so here it is. So here's one I made for Was Going To. And you can just create a storyboard on a, well, here, I'll just kind of play it here.
There were so many things I was going to do. First, I was going to play soccer. I was so excited, but it rained all day long, so I couldn't play. I was so bummed. Then, later in the afternoon, I was going to go see the new Mission Impossible movie with my friends. We were going to see it at the new theater downtown. But it was sold out. It was so crowded we couldn't get in. And then later in the evening, I was going to have dinner with my girlfriend. I was so looking forward to it. But she got sick and she couldn't eat. She couldn't meet me. So it was so bummed. I was so bummed. It was so bad. Yesterday, I was going to do so many things, but I ended up not doing anything. Oh, well, as they say, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
So that's also another easy technique you can do with students. You can just storyboard on a whiteboard, take your phone, narrate the story, and then voila. And I have one more goodie present for everybody here. So because I make so many audio files, I have hundreds that you can download. So you can, like that last story, what you can do is kind of secretly give them a grammar point that they don't know it's the grammar point. So what I'll do, if you click on that link, there's dozens, probably 100 audio files that they have one grammar point that I just keep saying again and again and again. And again, these are all extemporaneous. You can easily create short stories and then give them to your students. And I'm over, oh my gosh, 20 minutes. I should have known. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And any quick questions?
Any question, everyone? Or any comment?
That's just fabulously practical, Todd. Way
Oh,
to
thanks,
go.
Paul.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks.
Thank you, man.
Has the session been recorded?